and hide from Ireland that nobody can deny. You're a hero, my skier, my devil, my care, my decent Irish pie.
And would there have been singing in your community? Would you have been aware of music and song and dance in your community at the time?
Oh, I was well aware of it because we had it at our own house,
Okay,
the music and song and dancing,
okay,
and the neighbours come and dancing.
okay,
We had a barn one side, it was a big barn. It was just there all the time. It's as big as this where I am,
okay,
you know. There used to be dances in it. I had two brothers that went to England. I went to America, and they had a dance before they went, a week or a fortnight before they went,
okay.
you know. One that went 1 year and the other went the year after,
Okay.
you know, now. So that have drink as well there, and they have and a barrel of porter,
A
you know.
barrel of porter.
They used to be great. A barrel of porter, I call it.
Oh, I'd love to go back.
Oh, no, God, it was great, though.
Was it?
It was great.
Right.
And the people that time, they wouldn't have bikes. Them all wouldn't have bikes. There'd be a lot of them walking, you know, or walking to mass or thing like that. Time was very hard.
Yeah.
Time was very, very hard. I'll never forget them.
And tell me more about the dance. So, would your family organize the dance in the barn every week, or was it just around special occasions? Or
special occasions, the neighbours and my father and mother and them, they'd organise the dance, and our neighbours, the neighbours that want it as well, you know. Okay. You know, before they go. Okay. Our neighbours.
And so would there have been a big...
Did you ever hear that? Did you ever hear that before about a dance?
I did.
In the barn before they go? Yeah?
I heard about...
Yeah, I wouldn't think you... I wouldn't think you did.
I've
know to look at you.
I look younger than I am, Paddy. But I don't remember the dances in the barns. No, I don't. But I have spoke to people about having barn dances for around the harvest time, thrashing. Would you recall a barn dance around harvest time?
Well, I never heard it. I never heard dancing that time around harvest time.
Okay.
But there used to be dances in the barn a couple of different times in the year. You know, the neighbours and ourselves would have dances, you know. But I was only small at the time now. Okay. But I think than if it was today.
Okay.
You know.
Would there be local musicians? Would the neighbours be coming and playing the instrument?
That'd be first class music, a fiddle and accordion.
Okay.
And maybe another accordion or two.
Okay.
That'd be first class music.
Okay.
The finest of music. As good as music is what I heard since.
Okay.
And I was only young that time.
And do you remember the names? Do you remember the musicians' names, Paddy? Do you remember who they were? Do you remember the musicians' names?
I do. Tommy Burns. Okay. Tommy Burns used to play the fiddle.
Fiddle. Okay.
And Martin Burns used to play the fiddle as well.
Okay.
And there were Kelly as well. He was from Caltra. He used to play the accordion as well that time.
Okay.
Oh, there were great music that time.
And did you Did you get up to dance yourself, Paddy?
But sure, I was only young that time. I was only young.
You were
going in and out to the barn, running in and out.
Your mum and dad were up then. You would see your mum and dad up dancing.
That's right. That's right.
What's your mum and dad's
That's
name?
right. Do John Lally and Nora Lally.
John and Nora.
That was my dad.
Okay.
John and Nora Lally.
John and Nora
From
Lally.
Raheen's Montpellier.
Okay. So we have John and Nora up dancing. And
yes.
And you talked about that barrel of porter. I'm very interested in that. And people walked there. Now, do you recall they all had to walk back home?
They used to have to walk back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that walk a mile or
a mile
and a half.
Yeah.
So the houses was plenty that time in villages. You know, there were a lot of people that time besides now. There'd be no people now in a country place but to make a dance.
Yeah.
Because the people is gone.
Yeah.
Like only the father and mother left at home. You know now. It's very quiet now in the country place. It's awful quiet. Very quiet.
So
I never seen it before.
So
my father and mother didn't see it anyway.
Yeah. And preparing for this big dance in the barn, would there be food? Would the community make, sandwiches, and would there be food on the night for the community? Or
I seen. I had a sister as well that was married at that time, and the dance was in the barn, and in the house then that have the food it in the house.
Okay.
Or that have it was a big thing. Okay. Because that killed a few geese that time, and the neighbour might bring kill geese and bring them there, now, as well as the people at the house, I seen it mighty that time. I seen it better than now.
And how many would be at the dance, Paddy? How many are you talking in the barn on any night that you were there?
There be 60 or 70.
60 or 70. Wow.
Yeah, and that was a big crowd that time. In the barn, and maybe more. But the barn was suitable that time, now. Yeah, just there all the time.
And then you mentioned there would be singing. Would there be singing in the barn as well that night, or would it just be down?
There might be an odd one note is sing.
Okay.
An odd middle and old person might sing a song. Yeah. Not much.
And do you recall any of those songs? Do you recall any of those songs that were sung? Or
my father used to sing. He used to sing my father had a few songs.
Okay.
He had a couple. He was a great singer. My father used to sing the Gralla Ball. And he used to sing the Gralla Ball. And Gralla was only above us in a country place. Okay. It was only above us, but he had a song made up about it. Okay. Now.
Did he write that song himself, Paddy? The Gralla Ball.
He wrote them in his head.
He wrote them
in his head.
Okay.
In his head, he had it. Okay. Yeah.
And when you say that life was very hard, I mean, I don't think I really understand or can appreciate that. What was it that was so hard?
Life was hard in one way, in some things, but in other things, life was nice because there were more people in the country that time, and there used to be more dances in the country for him after telling you about, now, and in different houses as well, that'd be dancing. But it was nice at that time in one way, but to live it was hard to live. There was no money. No money. Yeah, very hard. That's the way it was now.
Yeah. But as you said, it was lovely with the community aspect of the dances and everybody pulling together and that amount of people coming to the barn. As a young lad, you must have really looked forward to that event.
Yeah?
As a young lad,
What you say?
as a young lad, you must have really looked forward to that event.
I look forward to that.
Yeah.
Oh, why wouldn't I?
And would other children come along? Would the children of the community come along as well?
Some of them would.
Good.
Some of them would.
Right.
They would.
Okay.
But they wouldn't be dancing or anything like that in the barn. They'd be only looking on, maybe. Yeah. 7 or 10 of them. Okay. Yeah. Okay. You know, looking on.
Lovely. Lovely. I mean.
But it was nice. It was nice that time.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was nice that time. But the people hadn't much money.
Yeah. Do you remember the barn?
Barn?
Yeah. Can you see the barn?
Well, I tell you about the barn. My brother went a long way back. He went out to Boston, and they had a dance for him in the barn that time. After telling you as well, they had a great dance that time. And he never came home until about 6 years ago.
Really?
He came home himself and the wife and a kid or two. But we went into the barn anyway, the barn that we're after talking about. We went in the middle of the day, and he looked up at the roof. It was galvanized, and it was galvanized that time. And he said, when had you to put on the galvanized in it? Why, says I to him. Said I, did you ever see that galvanized before? I didn't, he said. Well, that's the same roof, says I, that's on it, as you're looking at now. That's the same roof that was on it when the dance was here in the barn. Oh, I forget what year was it at all. And he started looking at it. And it kept good, but it was gone a bit rusty outside. Okay. You know, we took it off now. We took it off since, and we put on the new galvanized and things like that. And I says to him, we are going putting on new galvanized in it in the future, you know. Mm. And I would not, he said. That galvanized, he said, it'd be all right if you scrubbed it with it thing like, you know, to clean the rust off it first before you'd paint it. Mm. And that was it with Johnny. That was gone years ago. Mm. They galvanized the roof, left it, and it'd be there since. Okay. But we put new galvanized in it, which it would be. And that's the truth now. Mm.
It must have been so difficult for your family, your parents, for your 2 brothers headed off to America?
They went to America. Mm. They went to America. One went 1 year and the other went the year after. Mm.
Was that because there was no work?
Oh, sure, there was no work.
Yeah.
It was very hard to live. Mm. No work. There might be bits of jobs, all right, but no work. There wouldn't be much good, the small jobbings. You know, no. Maybe repairing a road or a by road or thing like that. Mm. Digging drains and making drains in the bogs or things like that. You know, the people had to go. Mm. Sure, the people had to go. Sure, all the people that I'm saying that was the time after telling you that was at home there that time. Sure, they all had, they near all had to go somewhere, go to England or go to America.
Mm.
And the parents, there were no secondary school around in that time. The parents couldn't afford anyway to send any of their children to the secondary school. Like now, you know,
Yeah.
they couldn't afford at that time.
So your parents,
Would you believe that?
I do believe it.
Huh?
I do believe it. It's hard to believe it, but I do believe it. And
Had you ever heard that the likes of that before?
yeah, I've heard. I suppose I even in my own family, my granddad and my grandmother died, and they left a young family, and the older siblings had to head off to. They went to England, Patricia, and they never came back.
That's right.
They never came back, and
Never came back.
they never came
Yeah.
back, and they had their own families out
A
there.
lot of people,
Yeah,
never came back,
yeah.
like our own families, you
And
know.
Paddy, did your mum and dad get to see your two brothers again, or how did they communicate? Did they write home?
Go to see them.
They went to see them, did they?
Did they go to see them? But they couldn't afford to go to see them.
Yeah, yeah.
My mum and dad. They
Okay.
hadn't the money that, you know,
To
they
go.
couldn't afford until they came home, you know, after years in America.
Mm.
They couldn't afford to go to see them. Of course not.
It's so hard on families. Yeah, so hard.
What did you?
Yeah, I
It
said
was hard, but it
it
was
is so
nice.
hard.
As I told you, it was hard, but it was nice in one way.
Mm,
You know,
yeah. What did your two brothers work at when they went to America?
oh, one that got on very good. He's a millionaire now.
You see.
He went at what he did after go back, but they're a long time gone now. My two brothers are dead now.
Right.
You know, they're dead.
Okay.
But he worked at old houses, reconditioned old houses
Okay.
years ago, and he made money that way.
Okay. And would they send money home, like Patricia mentioned? Every week, would they send home money to your
At
parents?
home, they did that time.
They did.
They did that time after going back. They were very good.
Okay.
They were very good because my father or mother had no money,
Okay.
and they used to send it home always
Okay.
for a long time after going back.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah.
Oh, Patsy Beacon, you're there, fellow by eye. Hello, Patsy Beacon, you're a decent Irish pie. You're a decent pie from Ireland that nobody can deny. You're a here, a mesquite, a diddle make here, a decent Irish pie.